All right, good morning. We are going to get started. For whatever reason, we are having some issues on my slides on TikTok again. I'm not really sure why or what is happening. So, if you can't see the slides, I apologize. It looks like it's just a black screen for now. Um, Nothing I can do about it. Anyway, okay, so today we're going to be talking about how to stay motivated when you are wholesaling real estate. I'm going to give the algorithm a little bit of time to send out notifications to let people know that we are live. And while we do that, we'll talk a little bit about the first slide that I have open, because if you don't know it yet, one of the things that I like to do is I like to use Google Image Effects. That is their AI version of image AI image creation tools, and they're competing with all the other AI companies that are out there. And so one of the things that they do is they create these images. And so what I prompted them with was a man in a bed with sheets over his head pressing the snooze button on an alarm clock that says motivation in LED letters. And this is what it gave me. So it looks pretty cool. I think it really does a good job of exemplifying how we all feel sometimes when we want to snooze our motivation. So this is the first image. Now, what we're going to be talking about is how to stay motivated when you wholesale real estate. And I think that's a topic that a lot of people ask. That was a good question that came up on one of the school communities that I am a part of. Somebody posted that question. How do you stay motivated when you're not seeing results? How do you stay motivated when you don't have any deals? How do you stay motivated when you have a deal but then the deal falls out? How do you stay motivated? And we're going to be talking about precisely how to do that. Do me a favor, please give me a thumbs up so that way I know that the audio is coming through fine. So far it looks like it is coming through okay. I'm going to take a quick second and try something really quick on TikTok, so just bear with me while I do that, just to see why the slides aren't showing. um, so just give me a minute. You guys are watching me do this in real time, and let's see what is happening here. Scenes. No signal. Okay. 1 second. We're going to try this again. All right. Now we are good. All right. Let's go full screen. Let me go live on TikTok one more time. Just bear with me. For those of you who are just joining, and we are live on TikTok now. And it looks like all the slides are working and everything is going through great. All right, so if you are just joining me, what we're going to be covering today is how to stay motivated when you are wholesaling real estate, right? Motivation comes and goes, and so a lot of us have to deal with how to stay motivated so that we can continue working and building our businesses. Let's go to the next slide. Over 50% of you that are watching this content and enjoying this content and utilizing it to help you build your business, over 50% of you are not followers, are not fans. No, this isn't OnlyFans, or are not subscribers. So if you could do me a huge favor and press the like button, give me some emojis, give me a fire emoji, give me a heart emoji. If it's on TikTok, you can give me a rose, a coin, a Super Mario Brothers mushroom, whatever it is. Give me a like and give me a follow. All right, we work on this content for you. It does take time. It does take effort. We work really hard on it. The cost of admission is just a simple like and a follow. That's all that we ask. All right. Now, here's an interesting thought that I came across my phone today. Everyone is selfish at first until they realize that they have nothing. Then they'll share 100% of the nothing that they have. Now, what does that mean? Well, there are plenty of people that will reach out to me through direct message, and not only to me, but to a lot of the other veterans in the business. And they will reach out to them and they will ask for help, and they'll say, how would you structure this deal? How would you handle this situation? How would you deal with this buyer? And then when they ask those questions, they'll start with, I can't really give you any percentage of this deal. I'm not really in a position to JV or give you any money or any of that. That's the first thing out of their mouth. So they'll preface their ask for help with, I can't give you anything. I can't pay you anything. I don't have money for mentorship. I can't give you a percentage of this deal, and I can't JV on this deal. Oh, and by the way, can you please help me out and give me some free advice on what I should do? right? So there's a lot of people who at first are very selfish about, their deal until they realize that, what they're holding on to isn't very valuable, and they may need to restructure it. And then all of a sudden they're willing to share 100%. Listen, at this point, I just want to learn. Once they start to grasp that and they start to see that what they thought they had, which what they initially thought was valuable is no longer as valuable as they thought. That's when all of a sudden they'll circle back and they'll be like, "Hey, look, at this point, I just want the deal to close. I'll use this as a learning experience. Can you help me?" Right? So everyone is selfish at first until they realize that they don't have a deal, and then they'll share 100% of that deal just to get it across the finish line or just to have somebody ask for help. So here's the moral of the story. If you are brand new and you haven't closed the deal, prefacing your ask, and I don't mind the ask, okay? The ask is great. In fact, you should get used to asking for things. That's part of being an entrepreneur. The ask. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But when you ask for help and you preface it with, "I don't have any money, I can't give you anything, and I'm not willing to share with you any portion of this deal," you're going to have trouble getting help from people. Okay, so just keep that in mind, those of you who are brand new and you haven't closed a deal and you're circling and you're asking for help. As a reminder, I wrote a book. It's called Deal Like a Dove, Dispo Like a Dragon. It is the blueprint on how to build a real estate investing business and using wholesaling as an exit strategy. I don't hold anything back. I don't pull any punches. I lay it all out there step by step, from cradle to grave, from A to Z, on how to build a real estate wholesaling business and how to use your wholesaling strategies to help you also invest in real estate. Because at the end of the day, that's what this is really all about. Wholesaling is, as Jerry Norton calls it, just a cash printing machine. Investing in real estate is what is going to build you long-term worth, adding properties to your portfolio, using the money that you generate from wholesaling real estate to then cherry pick the best opportunities that you want to keep for yourself, and then the ones that you don't want, or they don't fit in your buy box, or you just don't have the financial or the mental bandwidth to take on those opportunities, you can assign them to somebody else for a profit. Oftentimes, the best real estate investors are also the best real estate wholesalers because they are on the front lines. They see the opportunities before anybody else, and then they can decide, do I want that opportunity? They cherry pick that opportunity. Nope, that one doesn't really work for me, and then they assign it to somebody else for a profit. We cover all of that stuff in the book. You can go to dove.dispodragons.com, dove.dispodragons.com. The name of the book is Deal Like a Dove, Dispo Like a Dragon. It is also available on Audible, so you can pick it up on Audible if you have Audible credits or you are an Audible subscriber. Every month you have, 2, maybe 3 credits that you can use on a book. And this is a fantastic book that has been narrated by Tim Alexander. He did a wonderful job for me. He's a voice actor and a narrator. You're really going to enjoy it, and you should be listening to this in your car, in the audio, instead of listening to music. And some of you already listen to podcasts and a bunch of other stuff, so I get that and I appreciate that. But those of you who use your car as a way to entertain yourself should be using your car as a way to educate yourself. It is a university on wheels when used properly. And consider this. If you're in traffic and you have a commute of 30 minutes to an hour every single day, if you listen to an audiobook that is going to add value to your life, an audiobook that is going to improve your life, an audiobook that is going to make you better at your craft, that is 7 to 14 hours a week that you are improving yourself. Multiply that over the course of 52 weeks, and what is that going to do for you? You will be a completely different person by the end of the year. So pick up the book, dove.dispodragons.com. What you're looking at is a photo of Jay-Z. He is with Warren Buffett. And Jay-Z is clearly wildly successful in his own right, but Jay-Z had bigger aspirations to become a multi-billionaire. And so if he wants to become a multi-billionaire, what does he do? He seeks out one of the most successful men in the history of our world. He reaches out to Warren Buffett and he says, "I need you to mentor me so that I can become a multi-billionaire." This is a very famous photo of Jay-Z and Warren Buffett. Steve Forbes was also in the image, but for whatever reason he was cut out. They are at a diner enjoying milkshakes and a Coke. Apparently, that is, well, Warren Buffett is a big investor, big time investor. Berkshire Hathaway is a big time investor in Coca Cola. So he loves his Coca Cola, but he also loves his milkshake. It is rumored that he has one every day, and this is them at a diner. Now, fun fact, Jay-Z is now a multi-billionaire, and more importantly, not only is he a multi-billionaire, but the people that he has mentored are now billionaires, and some of them are on their way to becoming multi-billionaires just like him. Why do I say all that? Because you're going to have to forgive me, I'm a little under the weather. We have a profit sharing mentorship within our organization. You can learn more about it. It is at start.dispodragons.com. Start.dispodragons.com. It is one of the best mentorships out there. It is not just a bunch of video courses. It is where you have a mentor who is going to hold you and teach you how to become successful. You now have a closer on call, ready to close your leads, ready to fill out the contracts with you, ready to close those contracts, ready to find buyers, ready to close deals. You get paid, they get paid, everybody wins. This is not just a JV, a joint venture agreement. Sometimes people confuse the two. A joint venture agreement is simply where you have a seller and someone else has a buyer. You put them together, you make money, and then you split the profits, right? But there oftentimes isn't any real mentorship on how to do this. Just because someone brought a buyer to the table or someone brought a seller to the table doesn't necessarily teach you all the ins and outs and intricacies of how this business works. In our profit sharing mentorship, you now have a mentor who is going to hold your hand and walk you through the exact process so that you fully understand how to do this. So you can visit start.dispodragons.com to learn a little bit more about it. It incentivizes both the mentee, the student, which would be you, and the mentor. Now, if you are a mentor that is consistently closing between 1 to 3 deals every single month, and you might be a solopreneur and you're doing it yourself, you're successful in your own right, but you'd like to scale that success, we want to hear from you because we are looking for mentors. We have a bunch of new students, a bunch of new mentees that are joining the ranks, and we need new mentors that can help them and be incentivized by the fact that you should get a share in the profits as well when those deals close. So we're looking for students, we're looking for mentors, we're looking for everybody to work together to win. All right, let's talk about how to stay motivated when you are wholesaling real estate. And if you look at the slide, this is my little chance to get creative. I tend to be a creative person, so I used Google Image FX. That is the AI I use. I also like Gemini. Part of the reason that I like using Gemini and Google FX is because when you subscribe to the higher tiers of Google's memory or drive, right, when you get like anything beyond, I think it's like 100 gigabytes or something like that, you get free access to their AI as well. And this was the image that I used to create it. The prompt that I created was very simple. It was a man in bed with the sheets over his head pressing the snooze button on his alarm clock with a prompt that says motivation in red LED letters. That was my prompt to Google, and this is the Google AI image that they gave to me, and it is phenomenal. I mean, to have created slides of this caliber and images of this caliber even a year ago would have taken hours, and they did it in minutes. Now, it took me a few different prompts to get it right because motivation wasn't spelled out correctly several times, but eventually it got the hint, and it gave me the image that I wanted. Let's talk about how to stay motivated. Okay, motivation. Motivation comes and goes. This is the challenge. The challenge is that your motivation comes and goes. It's a feeling that varies based on your emotional state. So when you're happy, you're more motivated. When you're sad or depressed or dejected or down on yourself, you feel less motivated. It is a feeling. You already make decisions and take actions despite your level of motivation. Now, what are we talking about here? So here's the thing. You already work and operate in spite, despite what your level of motivation is, what your emotional state is. How happy you are, how sad you are, doesn't really matter. You are already taking action and making decisions that defy your level of motivation. Case in point, if you are waking up and you are going to a job that you dislike, to work for a boss that you don't like, to work next to coworkers that you don't want to be around, to get a paycheck that doesn't really pay or cover all of the bills, then you are taking action. You are still able to go to that job every single day, despite the fact that you might not be happy. And if you're not happy, then you're probably not very motivated. So you're already doing these things. You're already taking action despite the level of your happiness, despite the level of your motivation. You're able to do these things, right? That's the interesting point. So if you're already doing these things, your actions then are not dependent on your level of motivation. Think about that. Your actions are not really dependent on your level of motivation. But for some reason, people look at this business and they'll say, I had a bad day, I'm not going to do anything. But you've already proven to yourself that you can work, you can function, you can operate despite your bad day, because you went to a job that you don't like, to work for people that you don't want to work for, to work with people and around people that get on your nerves, to get a paycheck that sometimes barely cover the bills. So you've already proven that you can defy that. Your actions are not dependent on your level of motivation. You prove it every day, which then means that your actions are not dependent. What it proves is that your actions are dependent on your level of discipline. I think I missed a slide. Your actions are not dependent on your level of motivation. Sorry, this is the one I wanted to focus on. That also means then, if your actions are not dependent on your level of motivation, which you've already proven to yourself, and you've been proving it to yourself for the last X number of years that you've been working, then that also means that your success is not dependent on your level of motivation. Now, this doesn't only apply to work. This also applies to raising children. This also applies to being married. There are plenty of times that you will do things in a marriage or for your children, even though you might not be in a good mood because you've had a bad day, but yet you still do it. You know, there are plenty of working professionals that come home, have to pick up the kids, have to get them home, have to help them with their homework, have to help cook dinner, have to do all of those things, and they've had a really, really, really crappy day, and yet they're still able to do it. Therefore, it wasn't the motivation that got them to do that. What it really was their level of discipline. Your actions are dependent on your level of discipline, not really your level of motivation. And I think that's the biggest difference between the people that make it and the people that don't make it in any business, let alone what we do as real estate investors who wholesale. We have discovered that it is not our level of motivation that determines how successful we are going to be. We have determined that it is our level of discipline that determines how successful we are going to be. And we've already demonstrated that discipline because we do things plenty of times in careers, in personal relationships. We do things that we don't necessarily want to do. Go talk to a child who is taking care of an elderly parent in their home who might be suffering from an illness, and now they have them at home and they have to take care of their parent. A child who has to take care of their parent, who might be married, who might have children, who might have that parent in the house. You're telling me that when they come home, they're motivated? After work, they're motivated to come home, take care of the kids, help them with the homework, cook dinner, and then go take care of their parent? That's not motivation. That's love above all things, but that is also a certain level of discipline. They somehow are able to find that discipline or that work ethic to be able to do what it is that they need to do. Your success is dependent on your level of discipline. Now, I know. We started this whole presentation with, how do you stay motivated when you when you wholesale real estate, when you invest in real estate? How do you keep yourself motivated when deals fall out, when people tell you that you're wasting your time, when people tell you that you're the scum of the earth, when sellers hang up on you, when buyers tell you that your deal is crap, when deals fall out 2 days before they're supposed to close? How do you stay motivated in those times when things go wrong, right? But we've already debunked that. It's not the motivation. Right? It's not your emotional state that keeps you going. It's your level of discipline. And because the two sometimes get confused, people want to think with their emotional status as opposed to their disciplined status. They like to interchange the two, and they're not the same. They are not the same. Even though we started this presentation with how to stay motivated, I need to debunk that so that you can understand how other people are able to continue moving forward when everything else seems to be crumbling around them. All right, your success is dependent on your level of discipline. All human beings are creatures of habit. All of us, we're all creatures of habit, and you can fall into a new routine of habits, and you can often fall into an old routine of habits. It's all about the habits that you establish and are consistent with, right? So if you think about it, you wake up in the morning and you do the exact same thing. You either, and I don't know what your morning is like, but for some of you, you roll out of bed, you immediately grab the phone. Some of you, you roll out of bed, you immediately get on your knees and you pray. Some of you roll out of bed, you immediately go make coffee, go brush your teeth. You have a certain timeline. You have a certain way of doing things when you wake up in the morning. You have a certain system. If you have children and you have to get them out of bed to get them to school, you have a certain system that you follow. And if you look at this, you follow that system. You follow that pattern almost every single day. You put on your pants the same way. You put on your socks the same way. These are the things that you do. Human beings are creatures of habit. So, how do you develop good habits? So that you can develop that discipline to be able to keep going when your emotional status is low and your perceived motivation is low. Really, motivation is just an emotion. So, how do you keep going? Number one, you have to get your family involved. I say this all the time. If you are going to be a real estate investor, if you are going to be a real estate wholesaler, if you are going to be a real estate entrepreneur, because that is really what you are, you're an entrepreneur, you're going to need to get your family involved. This is absolutely paramount. This is absolutely very important, okay? So if you are married with a spouse, you live with someone, fiance, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, get them involved. Make sure that they understand what it is that you are going to be doing. Prepare them that you are going to be taking an extra hour or two out of your day to build your real estate business while you continue working at your normal job. Prepare them for the fact that you are going to probably go through a lot of rejection and that it is going to take time and that you might not see a check for at least 45 to 60 days in some cases. Can you see checks earlier? Absolutely. Are there people that make checks within their first 15 to 30 days? Absolutely. Does it happen often? It does. Is it rare? Yeah, it is pretty rare. But you need to prepare them for all of this stuff so that way when they see that you're struggling a little bit, when they see that you don't want to go back and do it, when they see you don't want to pick up the phone, when they see you haven't made any calls, when they see that you're upset, they're prepared for it mentally too. It is not fair to them that for them to shoulder the burden of your emotional status and the fluctuations that comes with being an entrepreneur. We call it the emotional roller coaster. The emotional roller coaster kicks in. You get a seller that says, yeah, I want to sell, make me an offer. You make them an offer, they accept the offer, you're all excited. And then what happens is now you've got a deal under contract. Then what you do is you start shopping it around. So you start shopping it to other buyers, you start shopping it to other investors. And you've got a few investors that all of a sudden tell you, the deal's crap. You got it too high. Get rid of it. So now your emotion status was up here. Now it's all the way down here because now you're upset because now, you feel like, well, what did I do? Maybe I did this wrong. You start second guessing yourself. You start questioning yourself. Now you're at a very low point emotionally, very little motivation, right? Then the next day you get a call from a buyer or a DM from a buyer, and that buyer says, you know what? I like the deal. I'll take it from you. I'm going to give you your asking price. All of a sudden your emotional status is up here now, right? So you've gone from here to here to here, and you're excited because that buyer says they're going to give you full price for whatever your asking price is. Oh man, I got a $10,000 check coming in. It is exactly the way those guys said it. This is mailbox money. This is money that just showed up in my couch. Exactly the way those guys said it. They said that it would happen instantly, and it did. And then all of a sudden that buyer that doesn't turn in the earnest money deposit within 3 days, right? And then after that, the buyer ghosts you. Now you can't get a hold of that buyer, the same one that said, I'm going to do full price and I'm going to buy this from you. Now your emotional status went from here to here to here to here, and it's an emotional roller coaster. Okay, that, my friends, is not just real estate investing and wholesaling. That, my friends, is life. All right. So when you get your family involved and you prep them for what it is that you are doing, it just makes it easier for them, and they aren't as shocked when they see you going through the growth that you're going to have to go through in order to become successful. Number two, your schedule. You got to control your schedule. I say this all the time, right? You have to control your schedule, whatever it's going to be. If you're going to commit to 30 minutes a day, great. If you're going to commit to an hour a day, great. If you're going to commit to 3 hours a day, fantastic. Whatever it is, control your schedule and commit to it. The disciplined greats in this business don't care what their emotional state is, don't care what their level of motivation is. They honor their schedule. If they're going to wake up earlier to do an hour in the morning and then come home and work for another hour or 2 hours, then that's what they do. Set your schedule, commit to your schedule, don't deviate from your schedule. Treat it like a job. Develop the habit of honoring your schedule, and you will discover that what will happen is you will work through any level of motivation when your emotional status is up here and when your emotional status is down here. Why? Because human beings are creatures of habit, and when you develop these habits and develop these good skills, you'll honor your schedule no matter what. Next thing, get an accountability partner. You're going to need someone to hold you accountable. Now, at the beginning of this presentation, we talked about our mentorship program. That's the beauty about having a mentor as well, is that you now have an accountability partner. You now have someone who is checking in on you saying, hey, what did you do this week? I noticed that I really didn't hear from you this week, and I noticed that we didn't really submit any offers, and I didn't see any messages from you about offers that we need to submit or status updates or anything like that. What's going on this week? What happened to you? And you might get someone that'll say, yeah, listen, this week I've been a little under the weather. I fell short a little bit. I didn't get to do the things that I promised you I would do. And so I'm having some challenges with that right now. That is a possibility. And that's the beauty of having an accountability partner, a mentor that is going to do that for you. Commit to take action. So you're going to have to commit to take action. You're going to have to commit to honoring your schedule. And committing to take action basically means you doing the things that you need to do in order to have success. And more importantly, committing to take actions with regards to income producing activities. Activities that are going to lead you to getting a deal or getting a deal sold. That means that these activities should be, number one, talking to sellers, having conversations with sellers, however it is that you're going to do it, whether it be on the phone, text, DM, whatever. Number two, having conversations with real estate agents. Same thing, phone, text, DM, it really doesn't matter. Number three, speaking to buyers, okay? That's really, if you really want to break this down to its bare minimum, the most important things that you should be doing every single day is talking to sellers, talking to real estate agents, and talking to buyers. Those are the three most important things that you can do. And when I say talking, when I say conversations, I'm not only referring to just the phone. I'm referring to any level of communication, which is direct messages, texting, phone calls, emails, whatever. Conversations, okay? So commit to taking action. I'm going to take a quick sip of something. My throat is dry. I apologize. This is the beauty of live streaming. All right, number 5, find a tribe. Find a tribe. You're going to need a community. Okay, you trying to do this on your own and by yourself and treating yourself like a one-person island it's lonely. It's scary. You're going to go through a wide range of emotions, and you're going to feel like you don't have anybody to talk to or anybody else that is going to understand what it is that you are going through personally. You're going to need a tribe. That is one of the reasons that we created our community on School. Okay, it costs $1, lifetime access. I don't want to hear you complaining or groaning. $1. It's called the Dollar Club. You go to School, SKOOL.dispodragons.com. We put a bunch of this stuff that we teach in that community, but more importantly, you now have a community that you can bounce ideas off of, and you can learn from everybody else's successes and their failures. Right? You can learn a lot from someone's failure. So make sure that you join that community. Now, if you are a member of our community, this is a plea to all of you who are already members. One of the best ways to be able to take advantage of the community and learn from the community is by you commenting on other people's posts. And in our community, in order to be able to create your own posts, you have to be at a certain level. And in our case, it happens to be level 3. So once you get to level 3, then you can start posting your own questions and your own comments yourself. Now, you can comment on anybody else's posts, but in order for you to post something yourself or post a question or a concern or a challenge, in order to do that, you have to be at level 3 within our community. How do you get to level 3? By commenting on other people's posts, or I'm going to give you a little trick, a little hack. You can post your question on other people's posts. So if you see, say for instance, I post something within the community and you have a question about that, you can post a question about what it was that I posted and I can answer it there and we can continue that conversation. The more you interact within the community, the more points you earn and the higher the level you move up to. And then once you get to a level 3, then you can start posting your own comments and your own questions in your own posts. So my plea to the community, if you're brand new within it, start commenting on other people's posts, start posting questions on other people's posts, and we'll do our best to make sure that we answer them all there. All right, number 6, discipline your input or discipline what you consume. Right? That's the other thing. So if you're watching news and the news is all doom and gloom and it's telling you about how everything's horrible and real estate market is tanking and sellers aren't selling and buyers aren't buying and interest rates are high and investors aren't flipping and people aren't buying properties and there's all these lawsuits and everything's going on. If you are consuming that content on a regular basis, it's gonna create doubt for you and it's gonna make it more difficult for you to succeed. In addition to the fact that these algorithms will give you more of what it is that you are watching. So if you consistently watch that information, the algorithms, they want your eyeballs. They want your attention. Your attention is a currency for them and for their advertisers. So the more you watch that type of content, the more it's going to feed you that type of content. It's a self-perpetuating cycle. You're going to have to cut it off. I recently learned, for instance, that on Instagram, you can reset your algorithm. I'm not an expert on how to do that, so I did it by accident, but Google that. Google how to reset your entire algorithm so that you stop getting whatever post it is that you're getting, or you just want to start from scratch, a brand new clean slate. Maybe you're getting a lot of content that you don't want to be seeing, you shouldn't be seeing, whatever. So clean that up, discipline your input. Keep a journal. Keep a journal of everything that it is that you do. Now, within our profit sharing mentorship program, we provide what is called a business scheduling planner. It's an Excel spreadsheet, and basically what it does is you go in there and you daily mark down how many people you've talked to, how many offers you sent out, how much money you want to make, and it helps you with goal settings and all of that stuff. And so we give that to all of the people who are part of our coaching program, our mentorship program. Now, if you're not going to do something like that, no problem. Just keep a journal. Just track everything that you do. You want to do it by hand, do it by hand. If you want to do it on a Google Doc, just do it on a Google Doc. Every day you start your entry with the current date, and you log what it is that you do. And the reason that I want you to do that is because, number one, you see all of your successes, but number two, you also see, what you didn't do, right? And when you start seeing that you didn't do this and you didn't do that and you didn't do anything today and you didn't do anything today, then really you need to start holding yourself accountable, or you need to get somebody that's going to help hold you accountable, right? But you start to see that. And so one of two things is going to happen. If you start seeing that there's too many days where you're not doing anything, you're either going to step up and you're going to take action, or you're going to step out and you're just going to completely leave the industry or the profession. And that's fine too. It's entirely up to you. But you need to keep track of what it is that you are doing on a daily basis. And you want to be kind to yourself, okay? Because here's the deal. Even if you have a bad day, it's okay. Even if you have a bad week, it's okay. You might even have a bad month. It's okay. As long as you come back and you develop the same habits and rituals and disciplines that will keep you going. This isn't a sprint. It's a marathon. And so you could have a bad day. You could have a bad week. Really, you might even have a bad month. But at some point, you're going to have to develop the discipline to come back to your schedule, the discipline to come back and do the things that you need to do. And again, be kind to yourself. Don't beat yourself up so hard just because you had one day that you didn't do anything, that the next day you're like, what you've created this barrier or this wall for yourself. You're like, I didn't do anything. I shouldn't do anything today. I'm useless. You'd be surprised. There's people that have these types of mental conversations. I heard an interesting stat that said that we have typically 6,000 thoughts per day. And out of those 6,000 thoughts per day, 75% of them are negative thoughts. 75% of 6,000 thoughts are negative. And out of those 6,000 thoughts, 90% of them are repetitive. So you are repeating a bunch of negative thoughts about yourself to yourself. Okay, you need to be kind to yourself. You slip up one day, no problem. The next day you get back up and you get back into your habit. You get back into your discipline. You get back into your schedule. You honor that schedule, regardless of what your level of motivation is, because we've clearly stated that motivation is what? It's just an emotion, which means you can be up and you can be down, but your discipline and your habits and your rituals are what are going to keep you going. So you need to develop those things. But be kind to yourself if you have an off day. We all have them. It's okay. Just get back on the horse again. Call your accountability partner. I had a bad day today. I didn't do anything, nothing. I didn't talk to one person. I just didn't feel like it. I wasn't in the mood. We've all had those days. Trust me. It's okay. Get back on the horse. All right. So hopefully this session helped you understand the difference between motivation and discipline, and what it's going to take for you to be consistent in this business. Your motivation is fleeting. Your motivation is an emotion. Your discipline, your commitment to a schedule is going to keep you going, because as we've discovered, you can go to work unmotivated. You can come home and still prepare dinner for the children and for the family when you've had a bad day. So really, it's not your level of motivation that dictates your actions. It's your commitment and your discipline to get those things done, which is why we all need to work on those things. Now, over 50% of the people that are watching this stuff, watching our trainings, watching our content, watching our slides, over 50% of them, or 50% of you, are not subscribers. You're not followers. You're not fans. No, I'm not streaming this on OnlyFans. So, it takes time to create these slides. I love doing them. I enjoy doing it. I love that creative side of me. But there is time and effort put into this, right? This isn't free. And so the cost of admission is just a like and a follow. If you're watching us on YouTube, do me a favor, click on the bell icon so that you can get an alert every time we go live. If you're watching us on TikTok and you have some coins or some flowers or rose petals or Super Mario mushrooms, I'm still learning how that works. Feel free to send them to me. If you have a deal that you're working on and you need some help, send me a DM. We can review that deal together. I am comping deals all day long. That is what we do. I'm just looking at deals. So if you have something that you need some help with, we can get on a Meet, a Google Meet or a Google Zoom, and Google Meet, and we can review it together. And we'll record it, and I'll give you a copy of the video so that way you have access to it later on, and hopefully it'll help you out. If you need help restructuring a deal, let us know. We can look at that deal together. We can contact the seller together. We can figure out how to restructure it so that we can get the deal sold and in front of the right buyers. Dispo is in our name. Disposition means to sell, to get rid of. We can find the right buyer for that deal, especially if it needs to be restructured, okay? So keep that in mind. Send us a DM. If you are a veteran wholesaler, you're closing between 1 to 3 deals consistently every single month. Even if it's one deal every single month, we'd love to have you as a mentor. We'd love to partner up with you to discuss how you could help us grow, and you could still benefit from the profit sharing mentorship while helping other people succeed as well. It's a great, great feeling when you see someone else succeed and they cash a check or they get a wire and then they show it to you and they call you. I love getting those phone calls. It's a wonderful feeling hearing somebody else achieve success and all of a sudden believe in themselves. And it's an amazing feeling when someone gets a wire or an assignment fee check and it's it's in an amount of like 20 or 30,000, and that is more than what they were making all year at their full-time job. That is also an amazing feeling. So we're looking for mentees and we're looking for mentors. Students and mentors, go to start.dispodragons.com. With that, you guys, I'm going to excuse myself. I have to get going. Have a great productive day. We will talk soon. Take care. Bye.